Hi everyone, welcome to the Frugal Females Challenge. This month, men and women from all over North America have decided to come together and really work together towards challenging the way that they're spending their money and really focusing on mindful spending when it comes to unnecessary expenses. This month, we are joined by Everyday Budgeting Daysha Carter, who's located out of Seattle, Washington. She is a financial consultant. Together, we are going to provide to you a video series, a three-part video series, introducing budgeting, savings, and debt concepts. Stay tuned for more information throughout the duration of the month. Let's get started. So, Daysha, what is everyday budgeting? How are you involved in, how did you get involved in financial consulting?
So, everyday budgeting is a financial consulting and coaching practice. And essentially, what that means is I help clients who are trying to achieve financial goals. And in a lot of cases, one of those goals really is to organize their finances, get a sense of where they're spending, and also, more importantly, to get out of debt.
Debt is a big one. I know that so many Americans face for student loans and credit card debt and housing and mortgage. It sounds like a great resource. For the Frugal Females and Frugal Fellas Challenge, we are really starting from the beginning. Could you help us kind of talk, what is a budget? Why is it important? Why is that the first step when we talk about money?
So, budget is something as a financial coach is very near and dear to my heart, of course. A budget is definitely not something that people should think of as a scary thing. I also really try to make sure that people don't think of budgets as restrictive, as a way to, you know, hit down that you can't spend any money. Budgets really should be used as a way to organize your finances and as a way to help an individual reach their financial goals.
Yes.
And if maybe not everyone has financial goals right now, and that's okay, the budget really is helpful so that when you're ready to have a financial goal, you know what your financial picture looks like.
I love that. If you don't have a clear goal, that this is a tool that will help you find clarity for as you grow in your financial confidence.
Absolutely.
So, if we were just getting started, how would we go about making a simple budget? What are some of those categories? What does that look like?
So what we have behind us actually is an example of very simple, very high level budget. When I think about budgets, the two most important things that come to mind are first thinking about what money is coming into your household, and second, what money is going out. So where are you actually spending the money that's coming in? Hopefully, once you outline your budget, the money that is coming into your household is a little bit higher than the money that's going out. Otherwise, that's where we start to get into a little bit of trouble.
So, can you talk me through? I see we have some categories here. Can you just walk us through some of that, please?
Absolutely. So again, as I mentioned, the first thing I think about with budgeting is what is your income? So if you are creating a budget for the first time, then your income category really is the start. A lot of times people have income that's set. So maybe every 2 weeks or once a month they have a set paycheck that comes in. I usually start with whatever money is coming actually into your account or when you cash your checks. So you think about your net. If maybe your income is in tips. So just think about how much do you receive in on average on a monthly basis. And I'll add, I do typically like to work with budgets on a monthly basis because that's the standard time frame for when a lot of your normal expenses are going to be due.
So we have some categories here, savings. I recognize this one from, we'll be talking about this more in a couple of weeks. Housing, transportation, food, that's a big one. Miscellaneous, I also think that's a big one. Our non-essential and fun, I recognize that one. And debt.
Absolutely.
So some of these can get kind of tricky. Can you unpack any of these, or is there any categories where people typically kind of fall off the bandwagon?
Absolutely. So some of the ones that actually you picked out are really interesting. So if you think about food, there's a lot of different ways, I'm sure you all know, where you can think about food. So there's your normal grocery spending, which does become somewhat of an essential. At the end of the day, we do all have to eat. However, there's also eating out, which I wouldn't necessarily categorize as an essential food item, but maybe more under non-essentials and fun. And it also can even get a little trickier once you start to get down to the detail, because even your grocery food can become non-essential if you're thinking about, oh, maybe I'm having a party and so I'm going to spend $100 to, have my friends over. That really would be categorized more as non-essential and fun more than your standard grocery spending.
Gotcha. Excellent. Um, so we are going to talk about debt and going to talk about savings. So do you recommend, if somebody was just getting started, if they don't really know or if their monthly income is swinging back and forth, are there any kind of high level benchmarks that we could be looking for, savings, debt, monthly costs for housing? I've heard from some of our lending professionals that have been in here, don't go over 30%, for example. Are there any helpful just tips or tricks that we can give our listeners or our viewers before we leave?
Absolutely. So the housing is a great example. The industry standard, if you will, does fall right around that 30%. Obviously, it's going to be different for each individual. The housing prices and rent prices are just different across the country. 30% is a good benchmark. Um, Another good benchmark, and actually I'll add, especially as it relates to our Frugal Females and Frugal Fellas Challenge, is for our non-essentials and fun, we are for the month trying to keep it right around that 10%. Now obviously that is a benchmark, so maybe 10% is too high and you can drop it down. Reverse is also true, maybe 10% is too low. You just have to find that number that's a little bit less than what you're spending now and really be mindful and try and get to that percentage throughout the month.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys stay tuned. We'll have more helpful videos, tips, and tricks throughout the month. We will continue to be working with Daysha from Everyday Budgeting, and we'll see you guys soon.